the money that's being trickled up to these major publishers in this black box, if it's not being claimed, shows why we do not have the support as much as we should from the bigger publishers and the bigger corporations. If anything, they're taking money that doesn't belong to them. And so, you know, there's not enough people, and I would probably be the person who, oh, she's talking about too much, or she knows too much, or she's speaking out of place, or, you know, this is what the law says, so deal with it. Just because that's what was passed does not mean that it's right. And if you're really an advocate, and if you're really for the creator, then it's just certain things that you have to speak about and take a stance. And so even though I am appreciative that the law was passed in certain areas, that law had so many different bills within it, right? And so it's just all about us now garnering the support from the major corporations to say, you know what, we're not going to take other creators' money that is not owed to us. If anything, let's put some money behind the fact that we need to track these creators down and give them an option to either be with us as a major publisher, or maybe we can refer them out to a smaller publisher like Mezzo, who's independent, because every writer and producer is not at an established place in their career. So just having an active action plan on what that would look like instead of committing theft, because if you want to be legal, that's what it is. If you're taking money that does not belong to you behind some type of law that was passed that really didn't consider the fact that streaming is new, songwriters and producers receiving streaming money is also new, and there was not even an infrastructure for us to receive money nor be notified about the money that was out there. Now, if it was similar to what Sound Exchange did, Sound Exchange is a royalty collection company that collects off of the master. They collect performance royalties for the rights owner and for performers. So if you're a recording artist of your record label and your songs are streaming digitally, Sound Exchange will collect that money for you and pay out to you. What they did when they first launched, when they identified that they had royalties and they had not had enough members to claim those royalties, they actually had a database where you could go to that database and search for your name to see if there were royalties owed to you or your company. And so I'm even down with something like that. Like, you know, how can we put more money into, you know, an actual royalty claim system so that even if the songwriter and producers are not able to fully claim their royalties and they may need an administrator, at least they know that it's out there. And maybe extend the statute of limitations of how long it's there. Give them a 10-year, you know, give them the opportunity to do the research and then put the money behind promoting the fact that we have all this unclaimed money here. Please notify us to claim. And once, you know, all the verification is there, you know, from there, people can claim what's owed to them. Because just to take some money, or royalties rather, I just hate to say money, but just to take some royalties and put them at the top, you know, tier with all these major publishers when they're already multi-million, billion companies. I mean, they don't need the money. You know, I mean, they would say, yeah, we need the money. It adds to our bottom line. But really, you don't. You could do without.
But it's also not their money.
And it's not their money.
It seems as if that was what money bought them, that we'll have this short little window, 4 years, and if nobody claims it, which is weird because I shouldn't have to claim something I'm owed.
Right, correct.
You know, I don't have to go to my employer and say, hey, where is my paycheck? I need to claim my paycheck. They're owed this money. They don't know that this money is out there because of all of these kind of arcane rules and laws, and just the fact that they haven't been educated on the business side, which you provide. So they don't even know this money is out there. And I would imagine that these multinational companies and streaming services said, you know, let's make a law that after 4 years, if nobody claims this money, it goes to us and we'll split it up. And they're like, yeah, sure, because you just spent, you know, a couple $100,000 on XYZ campaign, or you put together this committee of
You know
fair
what?
play.
That sounds really, really good, Gregory. I just don't know. I don't know what to believe. I don't know why. I don't know how this made sense to actually, be pushed through. But one thing I will say is, and this is not a diss or a jab at any of the major publishers, because they once started off just like me as an independent publisher and just ended up acquiring more catalog that helped to evolve their brand into a major corporation globally. But here's the thing, it has changed. The industry, the landscape of music and how we consume music has also changed. And how creators make music and get their music out there has also changed. So when you're still operating from an old archaic system and there has not been anything to help catch us up, because we're very behind in the music industry here in the States, then you almost have to, kind of take what you can get, but at the same time, the work doesn't stop. And that's what I'm hoping, these major publishers realize, that, yeah, we have been doing this, but it's not right. And let's come up with a better solution to show how we are putting back into the ecosystem of these songwriters and producers. Because guess what? There could be one songwriter out there who's incredibly talented, but is not able to write or produce because they have to go get a 9 to 5 when their song was #1 on the charts. And unfortunately, no one had educated them on how to claim the monies that were owed to them. Therefore, they never received the money. They may have lost it and didn't have anyone looking out for them. And I'm telling you stories that have come to me, stories from creators who have come to me with these issues. And so now he's working a 9 to 5, or she's having to go, work odd jobs. Is she able to really focus on writing more great songs? No. Let alone someone gets married, life changes happen, have children, now responsibilities have shifted and now priorities have shifted. So you go from being this creative, extraordinary, talented creator, music, songwriter, producer, musician. And unfortunately, because you were not educated on the business and there's no law holding labels or these publishing companies accountable, that literally is why my company is in business, to be the voice and to help educate. Like I said, we offer free music assessments to go over, everything that every songwriter or producer should know and what they should have set up to collect. And so I'm just trying to, with what I have and where I am in my career, I'm just trying to be some type of hope for change, that at the end of the day, creators don't feel alone, like they don't have anyone that they can learn from. And we're not shutting anyone out just because they're not signed to our company. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely. We are also advocates for change. We want to change the way we finance elections.
Yeah.
We want to change the people who are heard during our election cycle and bring it back to the people as opposed to the corporations. We have a constitutional amendment. We call it the 28th Amendment. It will put reasonable limits on campaign donations and campaign spending. It will prevent out-of-state and big dark money where nobody knows the sources of it from flooding into our elections. There's nothing worse than running for office in Georgia and having all of the campaign money coming from out of state because they're able to create some sort of a dark shadow PAC that doesn't have any reporting or disclosure. So nobody knows who's giving the money. It could be a foreign country, it could be a rival employer, but nobody really knows who it is.
Right.
But we feel that if this amendment is ratified and passed in 2026, not only will it level the playing field, it will give the American people back their voice. And something that you seem to be working on, the Mezzo Agency, is giving everyday people back control of their lives and in control of their own destiny,
yes,
and
absolutely.
literally their voice. So I'm trying to figure out, if I'm a musician and I'm concerned about a litany of things, what would an amendment like this, how would it benefit someone from the music industry, or creatives, songwriters, or so forth, how do you see getting money out of politics being a real benefit for music creatives?
Well, like I said, it can go towards technology. You know, the technology that we have now, which is, you know, servicing all these streaming providers so that we can get the money, but also creating a database, you know, for us. In addition to that, creating laws that are going to protect songwriters and producers from being taken advantage of, and also holding the record labels and the distribution companies accountable, and make them have a certain standard. It is the most confusing thing to me how there have been countless amount of songs released without the proper credit, without the proper paperwork. I mean, I've actually seen major song releases from major record labels that have not even paid for the track. So technically they don't even own the rights to the track, but there was no paperwork done, yet the song is out and the producer still has not gotten paid. And everybody that was involved on the project didn't receive the proper credit. Yet no law exists to hold these labels accountable for it. So basically you have this multi-billion-dollar industry that is taking advantage of music creators who are the bloodline of the industry. And that's a quote from L.A. Reid, okay? Who said music creators, music songwriters and producers are the bloodline of this industry. And the fact that you have bigger companies able to, you know, do what they have been doing. We don't have like any type of coalition or some type of council to make sure everyone is in compliance when they're releasing projects. It's just kind of like, do what you wish and don't get caught.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
And so you really can't recover unless you go and hire an attorney. How many songwriters and producers can afford a high-powered entertainment attorney? You see what I'm saying? So yeah. I'm thinking the money, the dollars that could help, you know, should go into those areas of just creating an opportunity for songwriters and producers to be able to be informed, inspired, you know, empowered, educated, supported, and advocated for their rights. In addition to a system of accountability and setting the standard in the business, because as long as the industry has run, there's always these horror stories about people getting taken advantage of. And, you know, I just feel like, you know, this is America. Like at some point we have to be for the people. For years, we have not been.
Well said. It is time to put people first. It does say we the people in our Constitution. So it's about time that we really think about that. And, you know, you're absolutely right. You know, there is a lack of an advocate for the independent, small, just starting out songwriter, especially when they're going up against a corporation. That's why these laws and these processes and procedures all benefit the multinational corporations, because they're able to juice and grease the system to make sure that the benefits benefit them and not the people who are actually the creative forces. So once we get the money out of politics, again, it will level the playing field. So the first-time songwriter is no more weaker or powerful than the multi-platinum artist or the multi-billion-dollar corporation. We're all on the same playing field. And it'll introduce a level of fairness. So if you are a musician out there and you're wondering, like, why should I be concerned about money in politics? Because it's a level, it's fairness, it breeds competition. And there are too many corporations and even artists who are able to jump to the head of the line based on what they're able to bring to the table in terms of campaign contributions and influence. And it leaves the independent small person who is talented, who might need to go get a 9-to-5, like you said, to make ends meet, because they're not being given access to what they've earned, from what they've produced. Right. And it just seems like, you know, the more and more that we give corporations an opportunity to spend on our elections and to influence public policy, the more it's going to benefit them and the less it's going to benefit the actual artists and the other creators that are involved in the songwriting process.